Well, hey, well, listen, we're going to be okay. All right. You ready?
Yes.
I'm ready when you're ready. Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Knowledge is Power podcast live. And our special guest tonight is Miss Vanester Washington. Well, let me put the middle name in there. How about that?
That's
Walker,
fine.
Walker Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, she's the owner of the Guaranty Express Tech Service here in Beaumont, Texas. And what a great time to have you on during tax season, so we can kind of fall right in place with everybody. What are we doing? Is filing taxes, is getting our W-2s, getting all the docs ready, documents ready to file. So this is a great time. And also my co-host, let me introduce you to her, Gina Taylor. Hello, Gina.
Good evening, everyone. I am so sorry y'all cannot see my beautiful face tonight. However, I am here in spirit and through audio. Amen.
Yes. Well, we're going to talk about financial literacy, wealth, and how to grow your money and wealth mindset. You know, we're in an age now that we need to know how to have a mindset of wealth, and this is a great time to start doing this. And this is why I invited this Vanester Washington on this show, because she has a lot of knowledge and wisdom about finance and taxes and how to have the right documents to build a business and how to establish a business. So I'm going to introduce you guys again to Miss Vanester Washington.
Well, hello, everyone. I want to first start off by thanking Mr. Renfro for being so kind as to invite me on this podcast. And finances and taxation, they are certainly a passion of mine. But let's go with the basics here. My name is Vanester Washington, and I'm the owner of Guaranty Express Tax Service, which was established in 1996 to fulfill a vision that is designed to help individuals, small businesses become proficient in understanding tax laws and how to structure and manage their businesses so they can have sustainable profitability. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of my education. In '95, I received an associate's degree in paralegal studies. In 2015, I received a BA in finance and a BA in accounting. In 2017, I obtained my Series 1 insurance license. 2019, I was licensed by the Internal Revenue Service as an enrolled agent. In all, my intention in those things was to help myself, individuals, small business understand tax laws and the proper structuring of those businesses so that we all can become accountable, sustainable, and profitable. I mention my degrees because they're a passion to me for several reasons. I obtained that paralegal degree so I can understand tax laws and laws in particular. I obtained the enrolled agent degree, a certificate or license, so that I can better have my platform where I'm more educated to help you in all these things that I try to offer. But my insurance license comes with a passion that grows deeper to my heart. And it was obtained for me to help my community understand the importance and transference of generational wealth and not generational debt. We have to first know that big whop of a tax refund that we receive at the end of the year, it's not just for play. It can be used for many things. And most importantly, it can be used to fund that life insurance I'm talking about. Yes, I'm a life insurance agent and I'm not trying to promote my business, but I am trying to spark an awareness in our community about the importance of not leaving our children to succumb to the social systems of this world. That's not going to help us. We got to leave them knowledge. And I am so grateful to be on this podcast because knowledge is power. And I know that I told Mr. Renfro that I would discuss some of the basics, like how to structure your business, the types of businesses. What I see a lot of, formations of LLCs, which people think that is their business. An LLC is simply a limited liability company, which shields you from some forms of legalities. But no platform will shield you from being sued or anything if you dabble in malpractice. It's just not there. It's not going to help. So if you know about an LLC, then you need to understand the structure. Like I said, it's a limited liability company. It's not an entity as recognized by the Internal Revenue Service. They are sole proprietorships, and that's simple. One person. There are partnerships. There are trusts. There are estates. There are nonprofits. There are small corporations and large corporations. Now, the LLC is designed as a legal liability company, which you have to then make a election with the Internal Revenue Service to become that one of those other entities I talked about, the partnership or the S Corp. And most people that I deal with, they would fall under the S Corp status. Those are small companies that have 20 or fewer employees. We got to understand this, the dynamics of taxes, the dynamic of how it has the potential for refunds have increased dramatically over the years since I originally started. And with that increase in refund, we need to be accountable and responsible for using some of that monies for the betterment of our families. We need to stop getting hung up on EIC, Earned Income Credit. After a while, there will be no children in your household to obtain Earned Income Credit. And then what are we going to do? We have to understand the power of knowledge and the power of wealth that we obtain. You might not look at that that EIC refund at the end of the year as something significant. You know, at one point in my life, I asked myself, I received EIC once before in my life, many years. I asked myself one year, what do I have to show for that? Mm-hmm. And I didn't have anything.
Right.
I didn't have a pair of shoes because that probably my feet got too big or something. I didn't have those things, those tangible things that I could pass on to my generation, to my children and my children's children. So that's why this is very passionate to me. We have to get it. We have to get it. So with those LLCs, I talked to Mr. Renfro briefly. The government has now issued a new law where we are responsible, LLC owners are responsible for reporting a BOI. That's a beneficial ownership information report. Those things are reported on the Texas, the IRS under the FinCEN, which is Financial Crime Enforcement Network. We have to report these entities that were created post 2024 by December of 2024.
Right,
and any LLC.
That's a new law.
It's absolutely a new law, and it's a very important law because anybody that created an LLC prior to 2024 have until December of 2024 to report their beneficial ownership. If you created one in 2024, going past, then you have to 90 days to do your beneficial ownership report. Guess what? If you don't do it, they're gonna charge you $500 per day. There's no excuse. They won't waive it. You will be charged it. If you don't pay it, you will be fined and imprisoned. They're very serious about understanding and curtailing all of these LLCs that are being created. That's why I wanted to talk about this on my platform, on his platform. And it's just something that we need to know. I am here and I've been here for the community for many, many years. And I am so passionate about people understanding the power of wealth and the power of education and those things until, I am so willing to step out of my box and do this podcast.
Would you explain to the audience, that by beginning a small business and they want to go into business and they think just because they got a DBA, they're in business. Would you explain to them that a DBA is just what it says, doing business as, but it's not doing business as what? You got to have an LLC before you can have a DAB.
Okay, so
yes,
that's kind of one of my passions. You can have a DBA or an LLC. The DBA is just a simplicity of a business.
Yes.
Where you have the DBA, I am Vanester, Washington, doing business as Guaranty Express Tax Service.
Right.
So then I am, or I can create the LLC. Now the LLC is just that, what it is. We are confusing the LLC with the status of the business. A business is a venture for profit. If I am in a venture to make money, I can create either the DBA or the LLC. I don't have to do both, and I can do either or. The LLC is a limited liability company. It's a legal entity, and it is recognized by the IRS by electing to be an S corp, by electing to be a partnership if you have more than one person, or by electing to be a corporation if you have 20 or more employees. But you could do either or.
Sole proprietorship, right?
Yes, or as sole proprietorship. That's where the most misconception about the LLC is, because you can be a single member LLC, which ultimately is only a sole proprietor.
Right.
The S corp, the corporation, the S corp and the partnership are what's called pass-through entities. I have an S corp. I run a business. Whatever the business income or loss, or gain or loss is reported on my individual tax return by me being issued what's called a K-1. A K-1 is similar to a W-2. It just reports income that needs to be reported under my taxes. A corporation is not a pass-through entity. It's double taxation. Right. That means whatever is obtained there stays there, and you tax at the corporate rate at 21%. It used to be higher, but now it is 21%. So most small businesses should not, and my recommendation, I'm certainly not going to tell anybody what to do. It probably would be better for them with 20 or few employees to not create a corporation, because they're going to be taxed on that corporate level.
Right.
And then they're going to have to issue themselves income statements or W-2s, and then they're going to be thus taxed again on their personal level. And thus becomes the double taxation.
Right. And also, all business taxes, it's just like income tax. You have to file your business taxes by the 15th of state business tax by the 15th of March.
Yeah. So S corps have to be filed by March 15th. Partnerships by April 15th. Right. April 15th is the deadline for generally all taxes, but we have to understand that April 15th is a time to file, not a time to pay. So if you owe the IRS, or you believe that you owe the IRS by April 15 and you file an extension, you have to pay that portion with the extension. Right. If you don't, you're going to be subjected to more penalties. Mm-hmm. And I want people to understand this also. I'm sorry, Mr. Renfro. This one thing about 1099s and small businesses that are receiving these 1099, where the IRS says that you have to report all income greater than $600 on a 1099. You cannot look at my Square report. You should not look at your PayPal report and say, "Oh, this is all I made." I think we are, and so thus I didn't get a K-1 or a 1099, so I don't have to report this income. Square reports to the Internal Revenue Service, okay? Cash App reports to the Internal Revenue Service, okay? So if you come into a tax preparation office and you present them with what you think you've made under Square, and Square submits another payment to the Internal Revenue Service, those two numbers are to be reconciled, okay? So what the entity reported and what you reported are going to come together in a reconciliation. And if those two numbers don't match, the IRS is going to send you a letter. And they call those letters CP 2000s, either underreporting of income or a misappropriation of expenses. So what we need to do is be careful. Talk to your preparer about understanding how to report the income from those devices or apps or whatever. I've had people that had several issues with the misunderstanding about what they need to report. All income is reportable income. Guess what? They want us to even report illegal income. That's not for the purposes of why would we report on illegal entity? That's so that later on, if they find that you didn't file it, then they could tax evasion.
Right. That's what we have to be aware of. You got to report
absolutely
every part of your income, even from Cash App.
Yes, they need to do that. We as small businesses don't get it. Yeah, we have to report look at all of your income. That's why in my business structuring classes, what I do is I tell a bit when you start the business, you determine what type of entity you want to be. If that's an LLC, that's fine. Okay. And but if it's a DBA, that's fine too. But you need to create the business in whichever format you choose. Then you need to have a separate bank account. All of your income and all of your expenses for your said business should come out of that account. Because if it doesn't, and you commingle your income with the business with your personal income, then you can have issues if you're ever in an audit. So you want to have separation of the two. I offer bookkeeping services. I look at that as this, when you start your business, you want to be able to focus on the business. You don't want to have to focus on the reportings and the filings and the reconciliations and all of those things. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here. So use your resources to better structure and plan your business outcome. Because if you're tied down with trying to figure out how much you made, which way you get it, how you do it, then you're not gonna be out there promoting that business.
Well, let me ask you this. I did ask you before. I'm trying to clear out my chart over here, and let me get over here, move here, and let's see where I am on the comment box. One of your guests is just telling you that very informative. And that's Joseph Nixon. I want to give him a shout out to Joseph Nixon.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and that's some great info you're giving us, financial info. But I want to ask you. It was something I wanted to ask you when we're talking about income. I'm trying to find. By the way, what is your address so we can send these people your address?
My address is 2580 Laurel Street in Beaumont. I'm in Old Town area. I've been there since 2007 in that particular location. But yeah, you can find me. My phone number is 409-892-1118.
Let's repeat that phone number.
It's 409-892-1118. And we're open from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. during tax season times. And after tax season, we're open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But we are open 365.
Here.
And I also want to employ people that if you receive a letter from the IRS, please don't ignore it. It's better to get that letter to your tax professional when you receive it than wait to the next tax season filing time to get it to us.
Right.
We can deal with that immediately. One of my mottos is, I have several, believe it or not, but one of my mottos is there's no greater task for me than the task that my clients present to me.
That's great. I'm in the background making some moves so I can put all your information there. And I appreciate what you're the advice that you're giving us is wonderful. And I'm trying to get a ticket going across the banner here. If I can get that right, let's see here. Did I save it? Let's see. Let's show it. Yeah, I did. I got it. Okay, good. Got it.
Okay.
So,
and we also all need to understand income statements. There's a couple of income statements. There is a W-2. Those are issued to employees. Then there's a 1099 and K-1s. Those are issued to self-employed persons or businesses, and are those that are in partnerships with corporations. So if you receive those things, all of them are reportable, okay? They're just not things that people are sending you. They're supposed to send them by January 31st. But guess what? If they don't send them to you by January 31st, that doesn't mean that you're absolved from reporting that income. I would assume, I would want to implore you to wait for the income statement or contact the issuer. And then that way you can make sure that you have all of your documents with you before you file your taxes. So that you won't experience untimely delays.
Right, well, repeat that to them one more time, because I want them to understand that.
Okay, the 1099, there are 1099s, there are W-2s, and there are K-1s. A W-2 are issued to employees. A 1099 is issued, and a K-1 are issued to self-employed persons. Mostly a self-employed individual will receive the 1099. Most persons that are associated with a corporation or partnership will receive a K-1. All of those things are supposed to be issued around January 31st, no later than February. But just because you do not receive that information from those entities does not negate you reporting that on your tax return. That's when the IRS goes to reconciling this income, that's why you receive letters from them 2 years after you file.
Ms. Washington,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I've been seeing this circling around TikTok, and it was about the letter in compromise. What exactly is that?
You said a letter in compromise or offer in compromise?
Oh, sorry, offer in compromise.
Offer in compromise is where an individual or a company or corporation may have a large debt with the Internal Revenue Service, but have an inability to pay it. Then you would file an offer in compromise. And let's say I owe the IRS $50,000. But then I filed an offer in compromise and submit all the necessary documents and things. And then the IRS reviews it, and they tell me, and basically I'm telling them I can't pay this. And they review it based on my income versus my expenses. And they say, okay, I'm going to make an offer. Okay, so I offer to pay them $25,000. Then they say, okay, I'll accept it. But most cases, they don't offer that much money. You know, those things can be dealt with pennies on the dollar. I've dealt with clients who have owed the IRS hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we have settled for been offered and settled, and they paid $20,000, $10,000, $5,000. It is out there. I think you hear a lot about that on the internet or on these Facebook things called Fresh Starts. That's not the name I know it by. I know it by offer in compromise. Those things take about 9 months to process and file and be completed. Once the offer in compromise has been done and the IRS accepted or rejected, you can still file it again. If at some point it becomes accepted, they'll take your tax return or refund for the next 2 years. Okay, and then they'll also tell you have to be in compliance with filing your taxes for as long as you're in the offer. So you can either pay that offer up front, or you can pay that offer in 24 months. That is great. That's one of the best things the IRS have offered. And there are a lot of people out there that owe all this debt that do not understand that process. It is something that you need to look into if you owe a debt with the Internal Revenue Service and you cannot pay it. Because if you do not pay those debts, guess what? You might not think you have assets until somebody come after them.
Oh, good to know that. Hey, you got another fan out there. Sherry Durisolo said very informative, and thank you, Ms. Washington. Say hello to Sherry.
Oh, you're welcome.
And also, I've got a good question here from another Adrian Provost Robertson, saying Ms. Washington is one of the few in the area that can negotiate on behalf of the IRS. If that's correct, is that correct?
Yes, I can represent individuals and businesses in an audit in up to tax court with the IRS. Yes, We do. I offer audit representation, and that's what when I got my enrolled agent license as designated by the Internal Revenue Service, that allows me to do that. I can speak to agents and discuss all of this issue, and I want you to know that one thing about my business is I am integral. I have integrity. I will make sure that I follow your debt, your issue, anything that concerns you to the result that we both know is sustainable. I mean, I won't leave you hanging. You don't have to worry about calling my office and me not answering, or my secretary or someone not. We will respond. We are there. And that's why one of the other reasons why I'm open 24 hours a day, because believe it or not, taxation does not stop on April 15th.
I always wonder what you guys did right after tax season. Did you just go home for the next 8 months, come back and get tax season?
Yeah, not kind of like the bear. I do a lot of bookkeeping, payroll. Yeah, not like that. I do bookkeeping and payroll services too. But people file taxes all year. Yeah. In April 15th, you can make the election to file for the extension. Then the extension goes to October 15th. Yes. So I am, if I'm not in the office working, then I am traveling, educating. I'm on a few boards. I'm on the National Taxpayers Association. I have the member chair there. I'm on the board of San Jacinto College advisory department, and I am on BNI, Beneficial Network Informations, and that is a referral network nationwide. So that's why I do a lot of traveling, because I want to make sure that if you don't know the tax law, I do. If there's something I don't know, I will find out. You cannot know all these tax laws if somebody just spew that out in front of you. I don't operate like that. If I know it, good. But if I don't know it, I would tell you, let me research this and I'll get back with you.
That's great business. Always great business.
And one of the reasons why I want people that when they get these letters to timely report them to their tax professional is because once the case is closed with the Internal Revenue Service and they have issued an assessment and saying you owe this because you didn't respond or whatever, it takes time to reopen that case. I have to petition the IRS in the recon department, which is called a reconsideration. And you may even have to go to the appeals with the Internal Revenue Service. So as opposed, and that takes about 8 months. So, you don't want to have a debt with the Internal Revenue Service that you don't owe, but the only reason you've been assessed that debt is because you didn't apply or respond timely. So you want to make sure that if you get those notices, respond. Bring them to your tax professional. Let them handle that for you.
Okay, great. That's great news to know. Gina, is something that you would like to ask Ms. Washington?
Yes. What would be some good advice as we see, there are a lot of new tax preparers that's just popping up everywhere. And from the looks of it, a lot of them are doing it, clearly just for the fast money. But what information and wisdom, and just to drop some gems to these new tax professionals to pretty much just run their business in a way that they could be sustained like you have for all these years?
You have a lot of people. I won't blame a lot of tax professionals for this, because you have a lot of people going into tax offices and they looking for a result. I will tell the new offices and new tax professionals out there, educate yourselves, have a standard, and do what you're governed to do. It may seem easy to misappropriate or misrepresent a tax return just to get a refund or get a payment. But don't do that, because in the long run, the IRS, they got it's called the Dirty Dozen. The IRS got a department called the Dirty Dozen. And they're not called the Dirty Dozen for a reason other than they are going to be dirty as you are and go out there and get those who are misrepresenting tax returns and filing fraudulent returns for clients. Don't put yourself there. You can be imprisoned for such a thing. So I would say your business is going to grow, but you have to be consistent and you have to be determined and you have to stand for something. So stand for the rules that the IRS put up on us and represent that way. You're going to get the clients. You know, for a long time before I stepped out on faith and just ran my business by itself, you know, I had to work 2 jobs. I had to supplement my business. If that's what you have to do, then do it. And then another thing that's my pet peeve about, you know, people who are self-employed, you have to be able to manage your finances. If you make your money for 4 months out of the year, you live 12 months in the year. Understand finances, understand income. You got to understand your income and your outflow. So just because you got $50,000 sitting in your bank, that doesn't mean you need to spend $50,000 in 4 months. Then what are you going to do the rest of the month? We got to understand finances. The numbers don't lie. Simple. Math is simple. You know, whatever it is like my mom used to always say, it is what it is. She always used to tell me I asked you to quit. When I used to tell her such things as that. But we have to have a level and a standard, and we have to stick by it, whether or not a client walks in and we service them, or they walk in and they walk out. And I would also say, you know, join some organizations that'll be good for you. That one of the organizations, I don't necessarily want to, you know, I don't even know if I could do this, but National Taxpayers Association is a great organization. It has a wealth of knowledge. It has a wealth of referrals. It has a wealth of a community of persons that you can lean on to help you when you're struggling with a particular area of taxes. You know, I'm even here to help people if they want my knowledge. I've never been one to not share knowledge with anybody. I don't care if they're in the same field I'm in or not.
I think Gina wants to ask you another question.
Oh no, she actually answered it, so I'm good.
All right, good. Once again, Joseph Nixon is telling you, just congratulating you again, and that is a lot of knowledge that is, you know, he didn't know about. And this is what we're here for, is to educate the community on finances. And, you know, again, I'm going to invite Miss Vanester again. Come on, we're going to talk about bank savings and bank accounts and how to invest your monies in a proper place to grow your money, because the money in the bank is not, even the savings account is not growing your money at all. Not at 1%, 2%, it's not doing anything at all. So I'm going to next month, we're going to have another financial advising show to kind of get you aware. You need to understand where to put your money if you want to grow it, how to invest it in the proper platforms, even in stocks. The new money, cryptocurrency that I've been studying and researching for the last year and a half, 2 years now. I've made some mistakes there, and I've learned from my mistakes. So, and I can pass on the good things to you about financing, about investing your money and steady growth a lot better than what you're doing now. Because going out every tax season and buying a car, buying expensive shoes and purses and crab legs, it's not helping you. I mean, it's a better way to grow your money, to raise your money, to invest, and at the end of the year you have money. So that is something I like to address again next month on our next financial show. And Ms. Vanester Washington, I appreciate you so much tonight, because you have given us some very informative information, and I really enjoyed myself, because I'm not through learning. I've been, I'm a finance major, but I still learn every day because of changes of tax laws every year, the changes that I didn't not aware of, and you have expressed some of that to me tonight. That's wow, I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't know about the squares and the cash apps. And then as some of us don't know that, money is coming to our bank accounts, just because it sit there, that can be part of income too. We don't, because IRS want to know where that money coming from.
Yes.
So it's so much we got to know, and we are way behind the 8 ball and knowing. So I'm glad that I asked you to come on so you can feed us with knowledge.
Look, I am willing to be a partner on this thing with you and to give people the knowledge that I have. I am so eager to do that because, we have to save money. We don't have to spend all the money that we receive. Somebody once told me, and I think that was so powerful, they said money did not spoil.
No.
So we could keep it for a long time. It'll still be good.
Yes. Yes.
So I just that's a great little way of thinking, but we do. And I would love to, to share what I know in regards to savings. And I think that savings can start with the income tax refunds that we get every year. They can, we don't have to save lumps and leaps and bounds of monies. We can save small parts. You just think, you'd be surprised if you put away $25 a week, how much you will have 25 times 52. That's the math. It doesn't lie. And those people in the banks. I'm not down in banks or saying anything about banks, but they take our money and they use it. And when we go for them and ask them for some of their money for us to use, it's very hard for us to get that.
That's correct.
So that's why we have to build our own wealth.
That's what we're going to do. Next month, 4th Sunday of each month, let's talk about building our own wealth. How about that? All right.
That's great.
Let everybody know where you are again and your address and phone number so we can get you.
Again, my name is Vanester Washington. I'm the owner of Guaranty Express Tax Service, and it is located at 2580 Laurel Street in Beaumont. And I am open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. during peak season times, and I am open from 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. off-season times. But I am open 365 days of the year.
Thank you, Vanessa. And I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening to Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. You catch us next Sunday at 7 p.m. Bye.
Thank you for watching Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Be sure to like and subscribe to all Knowledge is Power social media pages.